Alright, so here we're going to get a little more practice and review of the different graphing methods. The three methods that we've talked about so far to graph a linear equation are 1, a t-chart, 2, intercepts, and 3, slope-intercept form. Where the t-chart method is, you create a t-chart, one column for x, one column for y, pick 3 values for x, maybe 0, 1, 2, and then you plug that into the equation to find the y values and graph those points. Intercepts is when you let x equal 0 and then find y, and then you also solve the equation a second time, but the second time you let y equal 0 and you find x. The slope-intercept form, you're using the general equation y equals mx plus b. Alright, so taking this equation here, y equals 3x minus 4, we're going to graph using a t-chart. So if you make a t-chart, one column for x, one column for y, pick some values for x, say 0, 1, and 2. Well, when I plug 0 in here, we get 3 times 0 minus 4. Well, 3 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4 is negative 4. So we'll graph the point 0, negative 4. If we plug a 1 in there, well, 3 times 1 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So we'll graph the point 1, negative 1. If we plug a 2 in there, we get 3 times 2 is 6. And then minus 4 is 2. So we've got 3 points here. We can graph those points. So we'll put 0, negative 4, 1, negative 1, and 2, 2. Once we've got at least 3 points, we can go ahead and draw a line through those points, and the line is graphed. Okay, again, graphing using the t-chart method, we got the y equals negative 2x. So if we create a t-chart, one column for x, one column for y, pick some values for x, say 0, 1, 2. If we plug a 0 in there, we have negative 2 times 0. Well, that gives us 0, so we'll graph the point 0, 0. If we have negative 2, plug 1 in there, well, that gives us negative 2, so we'll graph the point 1, negative 2. And if we plug a 2 in there, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, so we'll graph the point 2, negative 4. So let's go ahead and go to the coordinate plane. We got a point at 0, 0, point at 1, negative 2, and a point at 2, negative 4. We've got at least 3 points. We will draw a line through those points, and it is graphed. Okay, so if we graph this equation using intercepts, we're going to solve the equation once with x being 0 and once with y being 0. So okay, again, graphing using the intercepts method, we have this equation 4x minus 3y equals 12. So we're going to solve the equation twice. Once when x is 0, so I'm just going to plug 0 in for x. We got 4 times 0 minus 3y equals 12. Well, 4 times 0 is 0, so we end up just having negative 3y equals 12. And to get y by itself, we got to divide both sides by negative 3. So y is going to turn out to be negative 4. So we will graph the point 0, negative 4. We will solve the equation again, now with y being 0. So we've got 4x minus 3 times 0 equals 12. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, so we end up having just 4x equals 12. So 4 times some number is 12, so that means x has to be 3. We're going to graph, therefore, the point 3, 0. So to go to the coordinate plane, put a point at 3, 0, and 1 at 0, negative 4. You can draw a line going through those 2 points, and it is graphed. Alright, so here we have an equation, and we want to use slope-intercept form. Well, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where anything that is in the m position is the slope, and anything in the b position, including the sign, is the y-intercept. Well, in this case, the slope is negative 1/4, And remember, slope is rise over run. So that means we'll go down 1, right 4. And then the y-intercept is going to be 2. We're going to start with the y-intercept. We know it's going to cross the y-axis at 2, so I'm going to put a point at 2. And then we're going to use the slope going from the y-intercept to find the next point. Well, the slope is negative 1/4, so we're going to go down 1, right 4. So I'm going to go from my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 1, and I'm going to go right 4, and put a point there. And then draw a line going through those 2 points. Okay, again, we're going to graph using slope-intercept form. So I'm going to have the equation y equals mx plus b, where again, whatever's in the m is the slope, and wherever it is in the b spot, including the sign, is the y-intercept. So here we have a slope of 4. Well, if we turn this into a fraction, 4 can be a fraction by doing 4 over 1. And again, recall that slope is rise over run. So we're going to end up using slope to rise 4 and run 1. The y-intercept here, including the sign, is negative 3. So we're going to go to the y-axis here and input the y-intercept on there. So there's going to be a point at negative 3. Now from the y-intercept, I'm going to use this slope to get the next point, and we want to rise 4, run 1. So from there, I want to rise 4, and I'm going to run 1, and put a point there. Once we got that point, we can continue that. We can rise 4 more, and run 1, and put another point, and we can draw a line going through those points, and there you have the equation for y equals 4x minus 3. Okay, so now that you've seen some examples here, it's time for you to put that to work and get some practice in. And so take a look at these equations here. There's 3 to do the t-chart method, 4 to do slope-intercept form, and 4 to do the x and y intercepts.